This is the 2019 Subaru Impreza, and for the longest time, it's been the only all-wheel drive compact sedan on the market. Until now.
I got the 2019 Mazda 3 GT, which also comes in all-wheel drive, so this isn't the only one on the market anymore.
So we lined up these cars perfectly in terms of price. So this Subaru is the sedan, Sport Tech with the Eyesight, and it is 30,195 Canadian dollars.
The Mazda 3 is $30,885, and it has the premium package as well as the all-wheel drive options.
So the Impreza comes with a legendary Boxer 2-liter engine, and it has 152 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. And it's mated to a CVT transmission, which we're gonna talk about it later because it... what about the Mazda 3?
The Mazda has the skyactiv-g engine, which produces 186 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. It's got a 2.5-liter engine and a 6-speed traditional transmission, not a CVT. So thumbs up.
Speaking of transmissions, let me tell you how bad Subaru got the whole transmission options. So let's say you don't like the CVT, which is the only automatic option you have in the Impreza. You say, okay, screw it, I'll get the manual. Well, the manual is a 5-speed.
Really?
Which is like from the 80s. So you're like, okay, forget the 5-speed, I'll go with the CVT. At least it has 7 simulated speeds with paddle shifters, right?
Sure.
The problem is, once you put it into manual mode and you start using those paddle shifters, the ratios are so bad that second gear will hit like way over 100 kilometers an hour. It feels that it has no pulling power. Like they're completely unusable. Like it's total shit. So the only way that this car feels in any way okay is in normal CVT mode.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either when I took it for a spin. I noticed in manual mode, what's the point? I left it in automatic normally, and it felt right. I really enjoyed driving it, but not like if you're gonna go manual, forget it. So Subaru might have got it wrong, but Mazda didn't, because it has a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it's not the snappiest, but
it's not slow.
It's definitely not slow.
It's good.
It's no slouch. So
yeah.
I
if
hope
only they gave it 2 more speeds.
Well, you know what? Can't win them all.
So at this point, we have to figure out which one is the fastest. Let's do those 0 to 100s.
So everyone knows that the Subarus use the symmetric all-wheel drive system, and it's probably one of the best that are out there. But Mazda also has its own, and you have some knowledge about it.
So we had a little conversation with some Mazda engineers, and they explained that, you know, the Subaru uses the symmetrical all-wheel drive system for more traction and, you know, winter conditions. So it's not that crazy sophisticated in terms of handling. It's there to help you with traction, whereas Mazda took a completely different approach. So their all-wheel drive system is completely hooked into the G Vectoring Plus system. So it's there to enhance handling. That means that as the vector control is doing its own thing, the all-wheel drive kicks in to help the car steer better and handle better. So it doesn't send as much power to the rear under normal circumstances, whereas the Subaru is mostly a 50-50 split, but it can. So we had some footage from a Mazda 3 in the snow, and you can completely see it power slide like in drift. So you can tell that power is going to the back. However, I do have one major complaint about the setup in the Mazda 3.
Which is?
They changed the rear suspension to a torsion beam layout.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand that people do that, or companies, to, you know, make more room in the trunk and to make a cheaper, like a manufacturing cost reduction. I understand that, but then the Mazda engineer said that they preferred that because the independent, like a double wishbone, which the Subaru has, it robs you from the steering feel. And I personally believe that that's a crock of shit. Like, that's a very cheap excuse.
the Subaru's got a double wishbone suspension,
which is the best you can get in the back, and the 5-point multi-link. Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, handling in a Subaru. I mean, come on. I mean, you've driven it. I've driven it. It just sticks to the road. You cannot get it to unstick.
So remember when I was telling you that I feel that the Mazda 3 is going to fall apart if you switch off the traction and stability control, and then it won't be able to help you like electronically?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You can't switch off anything.
Like, it's always on?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
I mean,
you put it off and it just flicks
it's
back
still on,
or it's just
the traction control
always
goes
in the background, just doing whatever it feels like.
Yeah. The traction control goes off, but then everything like G vectoring, stability, everything is on.
That's messed up.
So the problem with that is, or the beauty of it, is handling wise, the Mazda 3 feels extremely sharp. Like you can feel everything working for you, right? Like you. I
experienced it right around here, and I thought, what's happening? I was confused.
You can fully feel the car helping and doing stuff for you. The problem is once you reach that limit and you want to go beyond it, I think the Subaru is the car that will be able to go beyond that limit, whereas the Mazda will always be held back from that G vectoring plus system. I mean, what did you think? At the limit, the Mazda feels much sharper, but then when you keep pushing, what happens?
Just kind of does something. We're like, why are you doing this? And it just goes.
But it stops you, right? Like you can feel that it's slowing you down to the limit. It won't let you
it
go.
slows you down in a way that assists your steering so that it follows the road better and doesn't slide. So it's trying to help you not kill yourself, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're taking your car to the track, and if you're a car enthusiast and you're planning on doing some modifications to it, might not be the best car to do it with.
Not at all. Although I don't think that the buyers of this class are in any way going to take their cars to the track, but
they'd probably
in
buy
case
a WRX.
you're wondering, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
So conclusion is, handling wise, up to the limit, the Mazda feels sharper and the nicer one to drive.
Yep.
But at the limit and beyond the limit, the Mazda can't keep up because it can't go there, whereas the Subaru can.
Yep.
So that's your verdict for handling. But the Subaru is much more comfortable.
It is. The Subaru feels nicer. You got a bit nicer bum feeling.
Ride quality is by far in favor of the Subaru. This thing will soak up bumps. Mazda is a little bit hard.
The Mazda is a little bit harder, but it's a bit sportier, and that's their philosophy. They're zoom.
Yeah.
They've never dropped that. That's always been their mantra. So, you know what? I think it's just fine. That's what they do, and they do it well.
When it comes to looks, that Mazda 3 kills it.
By far.
It's the better one to look at.
And the color.
Sure. It's called the Soul Red Mica something.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. This is nice. I like the stitching. And look, you got little chrome accents here. You got soft to the touch.
I really like this almost carbon fiber thing. It's really good. But I'd like to see it more.
Yeah, it would have been nice to kind of see that maybe here instead of just accenting it here maybe.
I like this brushed aluminum thing though. It looks good.
Yeah, I do too. You get that sport-ish feeling inside.
And see, the piano black is covered by a thick glossy thing, so you can never scratch it.
Yeah. No, you got piano black here. What else you got?
The materials are good. Fit and finish is good. The design is not very fancy, but it works. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I like how the infotainment's lined up. You've got your information about the car up there, your infotainment system here.
I can reach it without having to stretch too much, which is
it's
good.
Super usable. I love the
Super
infotainment
usable.
in this. Yeah.
You're never going to believe this, but look. Subaru actually finished a sunroof really nicely.
Oh, look, you can't see the tracks anymore.
Or the screws or anything, no rails.
No
it's so beautiful.
Wow. That's much better.
So the Subaru Eyesight technology is really good. The adaptive cruise will let you also pick how aggressively you want it to accelerate. Blind spot monitors work really well. The technology, the infotainment system is not very fancy, but it works well. It's very functional.
But hang on. The blind spot monitors are awesome because
they're very bright.
Maybe you don't like them because they're big, but I find that it's pretty hard to miss. And that's when you want them like that because you don't want to miss the fact that someone's there. And if you don't check...
But the Mazda 3 beeps a lot. So it's very audible. It's not
Yeah.
very visual, but it makes a lot of noises. It's like beep, 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 this, beep, 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 that.
I don't know if I like the beep beep though.
Yeah,
I'd
me
rather
neither.
be
It's really
visual.
annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I really don't like about the Mazda is the one thing you pointed out.
Which is?
The radio station browsing, selecting, picking thing.
Man,
So annoying.
what the hell were they thinking there? So, my gripe with it is that if I just want to manually tune to a station or I'm trying to go between my stations, I can do that if I pick it as my favorite. No problem. But if it's not my favorite, I've got to go through menus, I've got to go to a radio station list, I've got to pick the radio station and put it into my favorites, and it's a hassle.
And this is the best part. Let's say you pick station 50 or 55 or 45,
Yeah.
and then you want to pick 46, like the next one.
It's not there.
The list starts from 0 again.
Yeah.
So you have to go all the way down again and pick it. It's like so annoying.
So for the developer that did that, you suck.
But the Mazda has very nice refresh rates, like the graphics, they're very smooth.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, it's actually, it gives you that more elegant feeling. So +1 on that because it looks sharp.
And the instrument cluster of the Mazda is basically a big screen in the middle. It doesn't give you a lot of different information, but it looks good. Whereas in the Subaru, the screen is much smaller, but it has a really cool touch. See how I'm holding the brakes now? You can see the brake lights on the car.
Yeah.
If I let go of the brakes, they turn off, which is pretty cool.
Oh.
Let's talk about the seats. Because the Mazda has one up on the Subaru on this.
It depends who you're asking. I think the Subaru seats are comfy, but they don't keep you in your seat if you want to get a little aggressive or have more spirited driving.
But they don't have the one thing that you love the most in this world. Lumbar support. And how painful has it been when you get out of this car and I get in it, and vice versa?
If you and your wife are going to share this, or if you and your husband are going to share this, or you and your partner are going to share this, guess what? You're going to hate readjusting the seat all the time. It sucks.
It has no memory seats, is what we're getting to. But
Yeah.
both cars have manual passenger seats.
True.
Visibility-wise, I have to say that the Subaru wins, because the Mazda, as you're going to see when we hop into it, every time you turn left, the B pillar is like right here.
Look left.
I see everything here. I'm not in the Mazda. In the Mazda, it's like nice view B pillar. It's like it hides everything. It's like massive and it's right in your face. Kind of like you. So I sat behind myself in the Mazda, and I have found out that legroom was marginal to tight, headroom was okay. How about you sit behind yourself in the Subaru so we can compare rear roominess?
Sure. Let's do it. So, as you can see, there is more legroom in the Subaru. It's been said, it has been done.
So if you have a family and room is a really important criteria.
Subaru wins.
However, things are a little bit different when you open the trunk. Not by much,
that much different.
but the Mazda has the bigger trunk.
Size doesn't always matter. Shape matters as well.
Well, they're both shaped really well, but the Mazda has 374 liters and the Subaru has 348. That's almost 30 liters more for the Mazda.
So I noticed this is saying 9.7, and that's with, I think, the both of us kind of mixing highway and city. So as advertised, I think it's a little bit higher, but 9.7 is pretty awesome.
Yeah. The Mazda isn't that good though. We averaged 10.7, and that was with
That's
a
actually
little
surprising.
bit more highway. Well, it's reasonable because this has a 2 liter, that's a 2.5 liter.
So it makes
That's
sense.
probably what makes the difference.
Plus, it's sportier, so you have more power and more fun. So,
True.
you know what? You gotta weigh out the good with the bad. So,
Not a very big difference again, but once again, if you're interested in very efficient fuel economy numbers, chances are in the Subaru, you're going to be much happier. At least they both run on a regular unleaded. No
that'll be
premium.
easier on your pocket. Yeah, you don't have to put in the 91 or the 93. Look at it.
Ah, this interior is much nicer.
Yeah, it's elegant. It's not nicer. It's just more elegant. Look, he's got chrome accents everywhere.
They put more effort in the design.
Look buttons, the way that the whole steering wheel is designed, all your controls are simple.
Those buttons are flimsy though.
I know. I looked at this. I was like, eh. And I noticed every time I push volume up and down, mute kept going off.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like that.
But you know what's amazing?
What?
The positioning of the screen. You never get any glare on it.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
I
like
didn't.
perfectly visible every time.
I had nothing. Yeah, it was sunny the other day, and it didn't even reflect. Like nothing. Perfect. Thumbs up.
So materials are, if not better than the Subaru, at least as good.
It's plushier, I think. Like they're a lot
Design
softer.
is better.
Yep.
Put more effort in it.
Look at the nice piano black here. I think that is a nice touch up. Bling.
Yeah. There's no touch screen here, but
So what?
this infotainment control iDrive style thing works pretty well.
I like it. It's actually very usable, especially when you hook it up to your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto. It makes a lot more sense the way it navigates. So, good
And
job.
both cars have no rattles or squeaks.
Nothing.
They're very well put together.
Yeah.
Did I mention that the Subaru is actually made in the USA now? It's no longer Japanese.
Shut up. Really?
So
Made in America.
let's see how well that's going to hold up to the test of time. Look left. Haha. B-pillar.
What's up with it?
I don't know, man. But you know what? I have to kind of forgive it because this cabin feels very snug. It's like wedged. You just feel more part of it. Versus the Subaru where you just feel that you're sitting on it.
Yeah, but zoom lifestyle, buddy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's designed that way for a reason.
This works for me more. I like this better.
I like this differently. I like them both because I'm a guy, I'm big, I'm fat, and I need a bit more room. Although this is not tight. This is actually roomy enough for me.
The
And it feels
seats
nice.
are very nice.
Yeah.
I like the seats.
They hug you. That's
They're-
why I like these two. Look.
The only drawback in the Mazda's interior is really the tight roominess in the back. Other than that, it wins.
Oh, I'm not going to fit back there.
However, look at the sunroof. So look at the finishing line here. See how
It's bumpy.
Yeah, it's not very smooth.
It's like, yeah.
So what do you know? The Subaru actually wins the trimming of the sunroof.
Well, they learned
That's
a
a
lesson
first.
a little bit. So, yeah. And, oh, I can see screws
Yeah.
everywhere.
Now I did notice that on the road, the quieter car was the Mazda.
Yeah, I'd say so. But that's probably because the Subaru had Yokohamas on there. And they're always noisy.
Yeah, but it's also wind noise, right? So yes, the tires are noisier in the Subaru, but I think when it comes to like handling wind, the Mazda 3, because of its nicer shape, does a better job and it's quieter.
Actually, you're right. Because I noticed that listening to people honking their horns in Toronto and just general noise was just a smidge better in this one.
Speaking of listening to, we have a Harman Kardon sound system in the Subaru and a Bose in the Mazda 3.
And that is to help you not listen to guys like this.
Screechy voices. So the Harman Kardon sound system in the Subaru is actually really good.
It is very good.
Unfortunately for the Subaru,
This one's better because the Bose kicks its ass.
no highs, no lows, it must be Bose. But this is actually really good.
Yep.
Did you notice that every time you go through a stop sign, you see a little stop sign in the heads-up display and the instrument cluster?
I was just going to tell you about the heads-up display, and you just cut me off. You know what? That's kind of shit move, dude.
Sorry.
Anyway, like he said, heads-up display, great. All these little notifications you get, they pop up, stop sign, and merging and whatnot. Actually, no, sorry, that's
Your
a
blind
lie.
spot, not merging. Blind spot. Yeah.
You get a little two-line thingy in each corner
It's like
wherever.
Wi-Fi enabled in that corner.
Exactly. That was cool. I loved it. And I'm like, oh, there's somebody in my blind spot. And I didn't need to look at that little yellow light on my side view mirror. It actually told me right there. I didn't even have to move, which I really appreciate that. So technology in this car, worth investing into a little bit more, no?
Sure.
And the backup camera is super high definition in the Mazda.
So what do we hate about the Mazda?
I hate the radio. I can't stand. I'm a radio guy.
You mean the picking of the channels?
Yeah, I'm okay. Maybe you guys and you all millennials all look at using your Apple CarPlay, my iHeartRadio type stuff. Okay, fine. But I'm old school. I like to choose the radio station that's an HD
old
radio.
school.
Who?
Too old school.
Whatever. My point is that I need to be able to look at all the radio stations and access it easily. This doesn't let me do that. I've got to go through menu after menu, and it drives me nuts.
And it drives me nuts that Mazda engineers, which I respect to the umpteenth degree, pulled out the independent suspension in the back and put a torsion beam. I can't wrap my head around that one.
Why? Why would you do?
Well, there's many reasons why, but I can't believe that they did it. And you'd at least expect that with such a move, at least the rear roominess is going to improve too. But
no,
that's another weak spot of Mazda.
Yeah, it's not room in the back. I mean, I'm looking at it.
No.
Maybe you can fit a Chihuahua.
Or two. What do we hate about the Subaru?
Cold start. It's forever. It's like, what, 2 minutes long? And you're sitting there.
I don't know. But I am that kind of guy that I wait for the revs to drop before I set off and go.
So do I.
My God, does the Subaru take such a long time.
It takes its sweet ass time, but that's number one. Number two?
At least it gives you a lot of time to set your seat in the correct position because there's no memory seats. So you have to adjust everything manually over and over again.
If that doesn't drive you nuts, the other part that'll drive you crazy is when you hit on the gas and you hear that annoying CVT sound. So,
yeah. You know, the one thing that I actually am missing from the Subaru, a sport mode button. And not because it would do much in terms of adding any sportiness to the car, but I believe it's a missed opportunity to add a little bit more weight to the wheel. I'd like the wheel to be a bit heavier. I like it lighter for city driving, but like when you're actually going at it, the Mazda has it, that doesn't.
That's a premium car option in my opinion. Who cares?
Well,
I mean,
I'm just saying, if we have to nitpick about something, that's going to be it.
Did you bring the clipboard?
No.
Why not? This is going to be hard.
Is it?
Well, how are we going to pick a winner?
I thought it's going to be hard, but I already know.
I think I do too.
It's close. They're very different. I like both cars a lot. And I'm happy that now, if you want an all-wheel drive compact sedan, you have two options instead of one. But for me, the clear winner is
Mazda.
The Soul Red Mazda. And the reason it's a winner, it's because it feels like the car, it's the same money. And it feels like the car with which you get more. Because they put more effort in the design. It looks much nicer.
The efforts are in the detail, right?
Yeah.
That's why you feel like you're getting more. You sit inside and you're like, wow, this is nice.
For a $31,000 car, yes, this is very nice.
Yeah.
Now that bombshell, it's time to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comment section.